Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the first parallel session of the day. Today, we are discussing how housing contributes to a sustainable future. And I have the pleasure to have with me today for the first session, Marie-Odile Zender, the co-founder and director of Casa, and Richard Bouimre, who is also the co-founder and CEO of Casa. They will present us a very interesting case study on how Casa is successfully developing and implementing affordable housing in Mozambique and in other parts of Africa as part of their larger group. We have today 45 minutes. Good morning, Richard. And good morning, Marie-Odile. Can you hear me well?
Olivier.
Hello. Can you both hear me well?
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. I think Richard froze, but I'm sure the connection will be fixed immediately. We have 45 minutes with us this morning. I will monitor the chat section, and I encourage the participant to write their question in the chat session. I will let you present, but if I feel like some question needs to be addressed immediately, perhaps I will stop you and to take the question. Otherwise, we keep the question to the end, and we try to have perhaps 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A. Is that okay with you?
Perfect. Okay. Olivier, I'm trying for the first time in Chrome to share my screen, so please bear with me.
Sure. So this is good. We see your screen. So I think if you start your PowerPoint and you put it on full screen, we'll be able to see everything. Just if you open the PowerPoint now.
Yeah, I did.
I think you need to repress the share screen button.
Yeah. But I'd like to see the chat also. But yeah, if that
I don't think it's possible, unfortunately, with this platform.
Okay.
But I will be monitoring the chat section.
Perfect. So then I go back to my. Do we have Richard still?
I think he's reconnecting.
Okay. Beira is notoriously, after the cyclone, bad for connections. That's why. That's actually the main logistical reason why we're doing this together. So I'm back up.
I see.
Ideally, Richard does the first half and I the second, but if need be,
okay.
I do all. Can you see it, Olivier?
Not yet.
What's happening? Because I've made the presentation.
I think you need to repress the share screen button.
Let me go back. Yeah, but if I can minimize this, obviously. How does this help? Oh, Richard says he's unable to subscribe.
Oh, I'm sure I will ask the team at API to assist him. I think Gideon Murray, if you're online, Richard is being asked to re-log in. I think he just need to click to sign in, not re-register. But my colleague will contact him now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can you see the PowerPoint, Olivier?
No, not yet. I think you still need to. Did you press the share screen button below? The share icon. I think okay. So I think what my colleague is saying is that you will need to close the PowerPoint. Okay, close the PowerPoint. Just keep this window open and share your screen, and then reopen the PowerPoint.
Getting there. Sorry.
All right.
It's not sharing. Maybe there's something in my system preferences.
They are just fixing the PowerPoint issue and will reconnect immediately. In the meantime, as I mentioned, while Mario, Dylan, and Richard will do their presentation, feel free to ask all your questions in the chat session, and we'll have a live Q&A at the end of their presentation. Good morning, everyone. I see more participants are joining. Thank you. We will start in a minute. I see Mario Odile is back. Welcome back.
Merci.
Okay, now we see your screen. If you open the PowerPoint, exactly, perfect. If you put it on full screen, please, the presentation.
Yes, are you seeing it now?
Yes, it's perfect now.
Whew, now Richard.
Thank you.
Are you having any news from him?
I think he's connecting. He's connecting.
Getting there.
Yeah, getting there.
Sorry, I'm not sure what I did. Oh, maybe I minimized this. Are you still seeing it, Olivier?
Yeah, now yes.
Yeah.
Now yes. I think Richard fixed the technical glitch, so he's entering the session. We're getting there.
I'm still on video, just to be clear.
Yes.
I can't see it myself.
Yes.
So I suddenly realized while I was stretching.
No problem. Perhaps while Richard is connecting, if you want to perhaps introduce yourself and Casa Real briefly while Richard.
Sure. Are we open to the audience already?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, welcome all. My name is Mario Odile. I'm one of the co-founders and director of Casa Real, a private company delivering affordable housing with aim to do that to the masses in the low and middle income groups in Mozambique. And this is our site in Beira, Mozambique. This is a picture of 2 weeks ago. And you can see in the back of the picture, the first 10 houses we developed to really showcase what we're doing. We call it also our demonstration models. And some of you may know that Beira was very heavily hit by a cyclone in beginning of 2019. And there's even here, I'm not sure if you can see my arrow. I can still see the roofs that flew off lying here, actually. Richard, my co-director and our CEO, who I hope will come online soon, will explain more about our model, our business model, and how we're delivering our model. And we'll explain also more about this latest batch of construction. We are now underway to build, and that's what you see here in the front, to build another 30 units priced at $10,000. So that's the sales price, $10,000 per unit. And that's a very competitive price in Mozambique, because as CAF has researched, previous housing offered on the market varies between 30 to 50,000 dollars per unit, and that's the price only the middle classes and upwards can afford. So Olivier, do we have Richard already?
No, unfortunately his connection is too unstable apparently.
Okay, well let me then get started, and he will hop in.
Okay, he's in the chat section, so I'm sure he will be able to write and answer any questions from the participant. But I think he will need you to carry on with the presentation.
Sure. We don't want to waste time.
Yeah. Thank you, Marie.
If I can just, yes. So what I would like to speak about today is what context we work in. And let me stress, we're a private enterprise. We're not in any way partnered, or it's completely independent. It's not a public agency, but we're a private social entrepreneur company registered as an LDA, as it's called in Mozambique. So I first want to get into the context of our work, then how we dealt with supply side challenges, so how to get the right housing offer to the market, and also how we then dealt with the challenge, because that's always the crux we're in, of course, in the affordable housing sector. It's not about just getting the supply right, getting the right housing on the market, but also enabling your buyers or renters, if that's your model, to come to be able to access the home. And then we'll finalize this with conclusions. The context, let me start with that. Well, housing market challenges in Mozambique, sometimes I wonder why we got started there. Well, there's various good reasons for it, but it's as bad as it can get, I can say. There's roughly 30 million people there. As I said before, the statistic I used there from the 2018 housing finance yearbook of CAF, and I see that this year you haven't included us yet, is my a note to CAF, maybe because we're not big enough yet, hopefully next year. But in 2018, the CAF research showed the cheapest house offered on the market was $55,000. This year, I believe, I quickly glanced in the copy lounge this year. It's gone down to somewhere 35,000-ish, but still, that's a price that's unaffordable and not accessible to 99% of the population. Only 1% of the population, with their current incomes and the current financing conditions, because only very few can buy a house cash, including in the Western world, but even more so in Mozambique. So 99% of the population is forced to employ to use informal construction manners, to either do it themselves or find another informal mechanism for them to get their house, and that results usually in low quality housing, and also takes a lot out of these people to do that themselves. It's often UN Habitat has also done research on that. It takes 10 years for people to get an own house together, and that's a waste of time and resources. Such processes can be done much more efficient. And just to show you how, I wouldn't even say nascent, but how prehistoric almost the existing mortgage market is in Mozambique, 600 mortgages have been closed in total in the whole of Mozambique. And when I speak with investors, they usually wait till I say the 1,000. No, it's 600 for a country of 30 million people. So you're really starting from scratch there if you want to develop a mortgage market. Talking further about the context, well, Beira is in a very climate vulnerable part of this world, often faced with floods, and increasingly, as we're in Beira feeling the impact of climate change, also storms are increasing. And as I referred to earlier, beginning of last year, Mozambique was, Beira especially, was hit by a terrible cyclone. And that resulted, I think the majority of you must have seen the images, or maybe even has been to Beira, but in unimaginable damage in the city, with 70% of houses damaged. You can see further the impact of the damage, and the assessment, how much it would take to build that big back up in the slide. But what I want to stress is that it's a double whammy, especially for lower income groups, because not only are they faced by a terrible cyclone, which is by any means already terrible to the destruction to their lives, but as they already live in the least quality houses in the city, they bear the brunt of the damages also. So they're double hit. So there's been a lot of focus on building back Beira better, but because of various reasons, very little action happening in the housing field, unfortunately. I mean, very little happening, very few funds and recovery efforts still. They're not going to support people in building back their houses. As I explained at the beginning, I first wanted to speak about the context and then about the supply side challenges that we face as Casa Real in getting the right houses to the market. You know, you need to have an offer that clients at least are interested to move into. Then the second step is if they can arrange financing. So how did we go about it? Because we, as Casa Real, when we started our company in 2018, we really started from scratch. But what we did before anything else is start with a market study. Because so much of the housing market is happening informally in Mozambique, as I said already, there's not much known about clients and their preferences and about what they can afford. Of course, we founded Casa Real with 3 people, and among us 3, we have 60 years of experience of affordable housing throughout the globe. So we had a lot of assumptions about our potential clients. We also knew we wanted to focus our company on low to middle income clients, but within Mozambique there was very little data. So what we did before we started construction was to really have an in-depth survey of our potential clients, and we zoomed in especially on the lower income clients. Our CEO Richard interviewed 254 people, male and female, focus on lower income groups. Had people with from $72. It's a funny number, but it works better. It's rounded off in Meticais. But from $72 upwards, they were interviewed on these issues. What was their current housing situation? What was the current supply for them, and what would they'd like to have? Is that Richard coming online? Maybe Olivier. I hear some moving.
That's correct. Richard, you're online.
Richard, you want to take it further? Okay, if I hear from Richard, he can take it further because he was the one actually who undertook this survey, so he can give you.
Richard, I think you're on mute. Perhaps if
and let me continue until he steps in, and we research also what they can afford. The conclusions of the market survey were we looked at what are the main employers, and obviously in these income groups you have people formally employed and informally. Also, no surprises if you've been around the block in the affordable housing sector, that the majority of people live in rental houses in informal settlements. Poor housing conditions, specifically for Beira again. Lots of flood-prone areas. Quite easily, multiple times a year, people would be faced with floods. 35% of people had some level of ownership of their houses. I say some level because a lot of them did not have legal documents, but they weren't renting. They had some level of documentation, or were confident enough they could stay there. Also, again, no surprise, incremental construction, most common method of building. As I said before, of course, the issue there, it's good people can do that, but it takes a lot of time. So it's not the best way to propel people into more prosperity if they have to spend 10 years building a house and waste a lot of resources on that. It's not the most efficient route. Yeah, and that's confirmed there in the next line. And especially for Mozambique, very dysfunctional housing market. Again, I refer to 99% of the population does not have access to the formal housing market. But yeah, this confirmed and strengthened us to think that we could add value, and that what we intended to deliver, that we could develop something that our clients, prospective clients, would afford. And the specific, I won't get into the details to that, that can be shared offline with people if they want. The preferences they gave in terms of houses that they, housing types that they wanted, we could incorporate that in our offer. So that gave us the confidence to register a company in Mozambique, a private company, in June 2018. Based on the social entrepreneurship model, basically meaning that we would need to sustain ourselves based on the cash flows of the sales and the rentals, as any other company would need to. And what we did, especially because there's so little reference among our prospective clients in formally built houses for them, what we did was start with 10 showcases, also to test the market, to show them in reality, so not just on paper and in leaflets, but what a house would look like. Also, we were offering an incremental housing model, Casas Evolutivas. So we wanted to show them every increment in the development chain. So you would have a starter home that could be expanded to a 2-unit bedroom house. I'll show the architectural drawings later. And we had a starter home that could expand to a 3-bedroom home. So every step of developing the increments we were showing, so people could really see what they would be buying. So our business model, to get back also to that, what we offer is that incremental housing. I spoke about that already. Basically, if people can't afford much, you build to the minimum increment that is livable to them, that is a closed space that they can live in, that has a roof, that has basic amenities, but that is still affordable to them also. So we eventually, that's a starter home, as we call it, from our basic range, that's $10,000, and then upwards levels we have also, because we need to sustain ourselves also as a business. So we have also a slightly lower middle income range where we can make a bit more of a margin than we do on our lowest income range. And you know, no business if there's no scale. So that's our aim also. We started off very small, as you do as a developer, these showcase units to test the market and show the market what we can do. This year we will have delivered another 40 housing units, and we hope to also that incrementally increase that up to delivering 500 housing units by 2023 and onwards. This is a beautiful drawing made by our architects in Beira to show also what it will look like if all the incremental houses are developed, because that's also the benefit we bring, not only a finished, basic, affordable units for our clients, but also with infrastructure and other facilities already planned out for when everything is fully developed. So this is what our, and I always say to our architects, they're way too, but I like their ambition also because they put a lot of fancy cars there, which our clients currently don't have. But I do like it. I wanted to show you these pictures because it shows how they see themselves developing themselves in the future. This shows the master plan we have for our site for 200 units on the land we have currently in Beira. So we've developed already this bit here. We're slowly developing this. There's going to be green field and play fields and some kiosks, and this will be the rest. Incremental housing, I spoke about that already a bit, so I'll leave it to that. If there's any questions on that, I'll hear that. But I want to proceed to the next sections of what we want to talk about. This is how it looks like, the $10,000 house, and let me stress it's a duplex. So also out of efficiency of building, we do well, 2 houses under one roof. So this half is the $10,000 house. We already built the foundation of where the expansion in incremental housing development can take place, also to give our clients the confidence that the footprint is that will be your house. So they literally buy into not only the dream, the concrete ambition to own ultimately a 2-bedroom house of well, the drawings I'll show later. So this is, as I mentioned, we have this 2 type of clients we target to ensure our business model is overall viable. We have the Casas Básicas, which is here what you see here is this house. So this is the 1-bedroom house. So in practice, this is used as a sitting space. So there's no bed here. And then there's the bathroom and the kitchen. So it's a decent house at a 26 square meters, as you see here, on a plot of 100 square meters, which can be expanded on that slab you saw already, that you see here, but you saw also in the pictures, and you see here, to ultimately a 2-bedroom house. So we sell this at $10,000, this at $20,000, this at $30,000. But then we have also a standard housing range, which is on slightly bigger plots, slightly bigger house. Starter home is this, and it can be expanded to a 3-bedroom house. Yeah, we just finished our first batch of 10 units. And then
sorry, Mario. Hello. Someone is saying I should help you. I'm available now. I had some IT challenges, so.
And this is actually a good segue, because I was actually not in Beira during the cyclone, but Richard, our CEO, was. So I'll hand it to you so you can share and talk more about the cyclone and what impact it had on us, Richard. Please continue.
Shortly after the completion of our showcase houses, which were 10, we had a devastating cyclone which destroyed most of the units, but especially the roofs. But fortunately or unfortunately, one side of our units, as you see in the photo, were destroyed. The roofs were removed, but the other side and all other sides were remained. But this also gave us some confidence that our houses are really strong, of good quality. Although they are affordable, they are low-cost houses, as people say, but we really make sure that we do not compromise the quality. So we didn't know the cyclone would happen, but when it happened, it removed the roof and all the other parts remained different from other houses that were destroyed in the city. So then after that, of course, we now, as Mario D will be in front presenting, after that, we made sure that we integrate the cyclone-resistant technologies that then we do not get the destruction in the future, as you can see here. So by that time, we decided to not only, because the remaining units survived the cyclone, we decided to remove the whole roof, and then we reconstructed the roofs using cyclone-resistant technology, like using screws instead of nails, because what we discovered, we saw after the cyclone, the roof, actually, the nails remained in the the nails did not remain in the timber. So we thought if we put the screws, and then the screws have big washers on top of the roof, then that would help. We also use metallic straps, so we tie all the timber together, and also we use the metals, the iron bars to tie the timber to the wall instead of using the strap itself. So after the reconstruction, if you saw the photos before, this is how now it looks after the reconstruction. 6 months after the cyclone, our units were looking like this after we renovated them, we rehabilitated the roofs, and we ensured the cyclone resistance. So these are, we believe these are resilient houses, and of course, which you know what it means if you have a resilient home or if you do not have a resilient home in relation to the sales we are making. So it means a lot to us that if we are targeting, for example, the banks or people are living in such units using mortgages, so before they pay, the roofs are gone or the walls are destroyed. So it's one of the lessons that we have learned, that we really need to ensure that although it's a low-cost unit, that it has to be resilient, that and especially Beira being in a climate prone zone, that they need to be so resilient. Next, Maria.
Yeah, thank you. So this is you've now seen snapshots of and we're always happy to explain more, so please connect with us if you want to learn more in depth on how we approach things. But this section, we moved on to the demand side section, because we now knew and know we had a housing product, a housing type that clients of the income ranges that we wanted to target, low to middle income, were interested in. But yeah, then we hit the next challenge, and this we knew we were going to hit. So from the beginning, when we started already parallel, we obviously we could not start without mobilizing project financing, but also from the beginning already started exploring how we could improve access to financing for our clients. And I say we knew our clients liked our housing, because even after the cyclone, and Richard can speak more to that, dozens of people are weekly visiting our offices and interested to buy a house. But yeah, what do you do as a starting developers? None of us are millionaires. Of the three founders of Casa Real, we cannot fund it ourselves. Local project financing for developers is 30 in Mozambique is 30% upwards short term. So what do? You know, that's if even I say 6 months, and if you know this is an untouched market by a formal developer, if you know that bureaucratic processes, even though the municipality where we work in, the municipality of Beira, does their most to support us in the best way they can, but processes in these countries take time. So if you then need to repay a 30% interest loan within 6 months, that's a sword of Damocles. So we've been blessed that we have a UK-based social investor, Real, who has also spoken in this conference already quite a few times, that they've provided grants for us to deliver that pilot phase, to undertake the market study, to reconstruct after Cyclone Idai, because otherwise, if that wouldn't have been there, we would have stumbled over the first step. It would have been just an idea. We could have never moved to practice. Of course, you cannot build a viable business on grants alone. So that's just to cover the market inefficiencies. We're moving now that we're gaining scale and delivering more houses and starting to receive a cash flow from the sales and rentals of our houses. We're moving towards a loan system within Real. But the big challenge also still remains. I say it's 30% interest for developers financing, end user finances. If the prime rate for financing banks in the country, if the prime rate is 18%, and then there's still a spread upon that for their own margin of banks, it means that mortgages are 20%. It means that clients pay for 5 houses. So again, let me stress, from the start, we knew we were going to hit that barrier. So what we did was, with the kind help of the Dutch government, we launched a process to really engage with the banks in Mozambique and see, even with those restrictions, what space was there to improve it. In the meanwhile, also based on that 10 showcases houses, we kept mobilizing clients to get more clarity also on what is actually their interest to pay and their willingness to pay and their financing means. And through that process, we engaged with a range of banks, and we always want to work with the sector. But one of the banks was really a front runner, Absa Mozambique. So they're part of the overall Absa group, one of the biggest banks in Africa. And since end of 2019, we've been engaging with them to see if mortgaging our clients is a possibility. They've really impressed us by lowering their limit for clients to even be considered by mortgages from $750 to $250. So that's a first major step. At least our clients can come in the building and be assessed, but there's still bottlenecks out there. And as we're running out of time, I'm not going in too much detail here. I advise you to look at the case studies that have been developed both by CAF and by Real on everything we've done there to try to improve access. Closing the deals with clients, between the banks and clients, is still challenges due to the high interest rates. That we've now brought it down a bit to probably 17% in negotiations with Absa, but that's still expensive, especially for the lower end of the client range. So in the meanwhile, there's always clients that can buy cash. There's not many, but there's some. There's some of our clients who have bought it via their employers. Some clients who say, "Oh, I don't have the money now, but give me till the end of the year and I'll get it together." So that's clients buying via progressive payments. So far, 16 clients have bought houses. But as you've seen earlier in the presentation, our ambitions are bigger than that. We don't want to, if we continue at this rate, scaling up will go very slow because our clients just don't have the financial access or ability to buy it, even though they're interested in our houses. Let me stress that too. So this shows clients moving in. So what we've started doing is start to develop a lease-to-buy scheme. Because not only is the interest rate high and a lot of our clients quite relatively poor, but also, especially after Cyclone Idai, a lot of them have gone into debt. So the clients we've mobilized and presented to the assessment team of ABSA Mozambique, they passed the income criteria. They could afford, they wanted to take a mortgage, and we've seen tens of those, but they had loans ongoing because they've indebted. They were maybe already a little indebted, but that has increased substantially after Cyclone IDAI. So they wouldn't pass another issue with algorithms. They wouldn't pass the algorithms. So what have we done as a Casa Real team? We've developed this lease-to-buy scheme, and again, because we're close to the end of this session, connect with us if you want to hear more details on it, but the highlights are here. Clients can save a deposit of 25% when they lease for 3 years with us. And once they've gotten that together, then even under the current challenging financing conditions, they would be bankable for a mortgage. And also within that period, they will have paid the debts they have acquired, so that wouldn't be then that wouldn't stop them from that wouldn't make them fail the mortgage algorithm. And well, the beauty of this model is that the monthly payments that we would offer for the lease would be roughly the same as what it would be in the mortgage. Partners, ABSA Bank is willing, of course, we're preparing the market here and are showing them a track record of clients paying 3 years. So obviously they're interested, and we may broaden that also to other banks to work with. So far it's not an exclusive relationships, but this works for our clients. But of course, we're a business as Casa Real. We can't survive on lease income only, not with the financing we have currently. So what we're looking into, especially as we have confirmation of the longer term offtake after the lease period, we're looking into investors refinancing us for the leasing phase. And there's a lot of interest for this, and we're in final negotiations with several investors. Very quickly, how does this broaden the market and increase financial inclusion? Under current condition in Mozambique, it's these monthly incomes people would need to acquire. This is the range of housing prices. With the leasing scheme, you know, this might not seem quite a lot, a jump of 333 income requirement to 220, but in terms of the Mozambican economic build-up, with this you still are in slightly middle class. This is the upper end of the poor people, I would say. But here, with this number, you reach the masses. This really opens up the market. Hence our interest in this lease-to-buy scheme. Conclusions. Even in a country as challenging as Mozambique, affordable housing can be done and scaled. Know what your market is. Too often, you see these empty housing estates in the wrong locations also, where people don't want to live. And poor people, even though they're poor, they need to think, as everyone else, of another income. They will think even maybe more than the richer people where to put their scarce resources to. So really research your market well, and then you will find clients. But then, yeah, you need to, as a developer, well, this is specific to Mozambique, but also many African countries, the financing conditions for developers, for project financing, and for our clients, end user financing, are just so challenging that if it weren't for the investors we currently have on board, if we had to work with pure local financing alone, we wouldn't have been able to get started even. And the more, I was a consultant for many years before I jumped into the deep and became an entrepreneur 3 years ago. And what I really realized over the course of the last 3 years is how much you're fighting against cynicism, because unfortunately Africa is scattered with failed projects, failed for many reasons, but specifically also for Mozambique, there's many bad examples So only when we actually delivered our demonstration houses did people come to site, including high-level bankers, including high-level politicians, and we're saying, now we believe you. You had nice visuals, you had nice stories, you talk nice, but now we believe you. And the same for our clients. So unless you build that trust and that belief that this approach is different, you're not going to get far, because people are just not going to go engaged. They're going to be polite, but not engaged really. And I've said it before already, but I want to conclude with that. We've been lucky enough to partner with an investor like Real. And I wish Real to be even better resourced so they can help much more Casa Reals all over Africa and Asia and other countries where one needs social entrepreneurs to enter the affordable housing space. Because, yeah, without them, we couldn't have reached so far. I want to leave it to this. Thank you so much. I know we, due to our shaky start,
Mario, can you put the first page, the first slide? There's a client who is asking how long does it take for the buyers to complete their second increment. In the first photo Mario Deal put, if I can one? Quickly say
this one,
the first slide.
So this.
I'm not seeing it from this side. It is, yeah, this one. If you can see this house, the first house, that was the first unit, but the one with bigger window, with a door, a wooden door, this has been incremented completely by the client herself. So 6 months ago, she entered, and now she has done the final increment, so she has a complete house. Just to answer the question.
Yeah, and let me also show it here.
Yeah.
So the client started with this.
Yeah.
And now they've added this range, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mario, Odile, and Richard, for, I mean, congratulations on this success story first. And despite the very important challenges, both on the construction side, on the housing delivery side, and on the finance side, as you mentioned, I mean, the environment in which you operate is not very conducive for you to be able to succeed. But despite that, you have been very innovative. Through your innovative approach, you have been able to launch those projects and to successfully launch those projects. Now, of course, the question is how to get that scale. And you can't do it all by yourself, of course. So this is why places like this, with the partners we have, the investors, I mean, it's critical, right? So I really, I mean, Mario, Odile, Richard did an amazing job at answering all the questions in the chat. So I don't think there is any question left, looking at all the questions. So thank you so much, Richard.
You're welcome.
And thank you again to both of you. The presentation will be made available. I'm answering also the question. We are receiving a lot of asks from the participants, but I encourage you to keep discussing with Mario, Odile, and Richard, whether in the chat session or in the networking area. And thank you again very much, and congratulations. We are now going into the next session. I encourage you to go into the session tab on the left and to choose. You have the choice between two sessions containing on a similar topic on how housing contributes to a sustainable future and presenting innovative solutions. Thank you again so much, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Richard?